Try to make English out of what it was.
Our returning sponsor.
Proud to welcome back our returning sponsor, Compex USA.
Go over to CompexUSA.com, enter promo code PowerCast, and get 20
pairs of what?
28% off.
I like it.
28%, which, as I understand, is 28% more off because it's already on sale through the end of the year. So you get another 28% off.
Me and Smelly have been using the Bluetooth one, the wireless version. You can walk around, easy to set up.
I use that sucker every day. 25% off is not enough. So here at the PowerCast, we decided to do 28.
There's
we
3 of
us.
us.
30 because it's too fancy of a number, so
There
we're
you go.
28. Only here at the PowerCast.
Exactly.
Code PowerCast, CompexUSA.com.
Please note that the Compex offer is for a limited time only. Use the code PowerCast to get a 28% discount. We're also supported by HowMuchABench.net, home of Mark Bell's Slingshot. Bench heavy with no pain with Mark Bell's Slingshot. Apparel for strong people from 8manstrong.com and bodybuilding.com. Bodybuilding.com is the world's largest fitness website and supplement store. Bodybuilding.com has free fitness plans for every level. Visit bodybuilding.com today to become your best self. Episode 174 features Larry Wheels Williams and his coach, John Gaglione. We recorded this episode a couple weeks ago when Larry was fresh off his stunning 2,171-pound total in the 242-pound weight class, squatting 771, walked out in sleeves, benching 573, and pulling an incredible 826 pounds. If you're already feeling inadequate hearing this, you'll love it when I tell you that he's only 21 years old. If you're a longtime listener of this program, you may remember that we talked about John Gaglione in episodes 1 and 3 of this show. He was posing as Mark Bell and Jesse Burdick's attorney at dinner with Reebok executives or something like that. Rewind back to those episodes and check them out if you're interested at all. Anyway, I guess we've come full circle. If you like this episode, please hit the share button and the like button and enjoy number 174.
Recorded live at Super Training Gym in West Sacramento, California, this is Mark Bell's PowerCast. Alongside Silent Mike and Jim McD, here's your host, Mark Bell.
He can't get on here and defend himself.
So we have 2 bodybuilders, ex-NFL players.
We're here today with Danny DeVito and Arnold Schwarzenegger, ladies and gentlemen.
Twins, too, after all these years.
The jokes begin.
Oh, so funny, right? Poor gags.
Do you realize that you made a guest appearance on episodes 1 and 3 of the PowerCast?
Basically, I'm a PowerCast legend. They make
Yes, that's right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But, every story has revolving around food.
Yeah, it's so weird.
How does that happen?
Yeah.
What are the chances?
Coincidence?
What are the odds?
Jim, can we pull up his Facebook page to check out this Kurt Angle
Oh, boy.
rendition that he did here?
WWE, if you're watching, I'm available for tryouts.
You're not available? You got to coach this guy to more world records. What are you talking about?
Okay, well, good point. So I guess you can't do both.
He could be your promoter in the WWE. That would be a real backwards gimmick.
Captain Lou Albano.
Yeah, Larry.
It's been done before.
Larry just hypes him up, and you fucking smash everyone's head off.
Yeah, there you
Is
go.
it on? It's not on your website.
It's on his Facebook.
It's Facebook.
Facebook and YouTube as well.
Oh, here he goes, plugging away. First
Yeah.
5 minutes of the show.
Is it? Can I get to your YouTube from your website?
If you just go to YouTube and / Gaglione Strength.
Got some music going on.
Yeah.
Here.
Yeah.
I try and be professional like you guys, and I try and learn a couple camera tricks here and there.
Kind of the dissolve walking into the gym.
Yeah, exactly.
There you go. How long you've had your gym for?
I've been in business for about 5 years, a little over 5 years. Been coaching for powerlifting for about 10, a little over a decade. Been in this current location for, actually, I guess it's been a little 4 or 5 years in Farmingdale. I started inside of a wrestling club in Syosset, and then we kind of quickly expanded on that, and we just moved to our second location this past May. So we're constantly growing, getting better, and Now we're breaking world records even. So
Yeah.
Wrestling or WWE wrestling?
I've
Coming off the top rope?
I did not come off the top rope, unfortunately. So you could see Kurt Angle teach
noise
Stone
is
Cold
on
how
here,
to squat.
There you go.
So we could check that out. See the Olympic medalist from
Oh my God.
1996 Sydney Olympics. I mean, look at that.
Amazing. Look at that singlet.
I mean-
he's got the moves down.
I know. I mean, these are the kind of characters you could see at Gaglione Strength if you want to check it out.
Oh,
you know?
my God.
Stone Cold didn't know what he was in for that night.
Yeah, he had Stone Cold in your gym? That's
Yeah,
amazing.
I know.
So how did you meet Larry? How did this happen? How did you meet this mutant over here?
So it's kind of a funny story actually. So one day I got a text from someone we all know very well, Stan the Rhino Efforting.
Stan Efferding.
I wasn't sure if
Rhino.
I wasn't sure if I was getting punked at first or not, but he's like, "Hey, John, this is Stan Efferding," and I'm like, "Okay." I'm like, "This is." So he was going to be in the area doing a seminar, actually upstate, and we wanted to also stop, make it kind of a dual trip. So we did it.
How old are you, Larry?
21.
Was this about 21 years ago?
He was
that the Rhino came into the area?
Yeah, basically. It was actually he was still just a young pup at 19. So 19 years old. So it was a little over 2 years ago.
Impressionable. The way you like him.
So July 2014. So the Rhino came down for a seminar, and I see this this giant person kind of walk through the door. He's got a little kind of scruffy hair, and so we ended up having a Stan's like, "Do you guys want to have a deadlift workout?" And who's gonna pass up a workout with a legend like Stan, right? So I was actually prepping for a deadlift only meet at the time. And it was this would be my third deadlift workout of the week, and I was kind of like, how well is this actually going to go? So, but anyway, so we got Larry in there, we got Kevin Oak,
Larry.
we got Stan Efferding and Creed, and we got all these like 700+ pound deadlifters in here. And at the time, my PR I think was 640 or 645 in that range, and I was like, damn, like if these guys are going to come to my house, I got to show up. So I end up actually, it's the only time I've ever pulled 700 successfully.
There you go. You were fired up.
I was fired up, and then so then this young stud comes in and just completely obliterates 700 for a triple, and I'm like, okay, what the frig am I doing here? I'm like, am I doing something wrong? I've been doing this for 10 years and all this stuff, but so
I think I remember Rhino doing 700 for 4, right?
So then
he does an extra rep.
So then
right?
Rhino, of course,
the old veteran,
Rhino
got to sneak one in, right?
Rhino is not he's not a spring chicken. It's not his first rodeo, and he makes sure that he gets last licks, and he goes last. So he gingerly picks up 700 pounds for one. That's like his whole kind of deal. Then he does 2 and 3 and 4.
Yeah.
Just one more, more than Mr. Wheels here. So I think that for whatever reason, there's always been like a little competition. And actually, we got was playing on the screen before, but we had a little battle actually this August too when we kind of reunited. But long story short, that's kind of how we got connected, and then we started kind of working together about 2 years ago, on and off. In the beginning, still kind of learning. Wasn't always following the program exactly. That's being nice to our boy Larry here, but he's really matured, and I mean this past year has been tremendous growth, and I mean it's just been a wild ride. But I mean to see like him go from barely totaling mid 1900s to 2090 and now almost 2,200 pounds total this past weekend, going 9 for 9, best lifter, edging out Kevin Oak. I mean it's just unbelievable performance. I mean shattering the world record by over 70 pounds. And he's just getting started. So,
Larry, with your background and you already have a ton of strength, you're already built like a motherfucker. What made you think that you needed a coach? Why'd you reach out to somebody to coach you?
Well, I wasn't really sure of my potential in powerlifting until I first met John, and I realized that I didn't know what I was doing.
Right.
Being around greats like Kevin Oak and Stan, I had just met Kevin Oak actually a week before that. Right. And I was just doing it for fun, just to pass time. And Stan, just hearing it come from him, I watched his YouTube videos from when I first started lifting at 15, 16.
Yeah.
And him, along with Pete Rubich and a couple other guys that just were like YouTube celebrities in the powerlifting world, right? And when he said, you're just amazing, you have great potential, that's all I need to hear. I was just ready to take it more seriously at that point.
It was maybe something that you weren't thinking about that much. You weren't thinking about necessarily being a great power lifter. Maybe you were just going in and training, lifting heavy, and seeing how you could do with your strength.
Exactly. When I first started, I was really just wanted to get bigger. I mean, I didn't really care too much about getting stronger. I just hated being skinny and not filling up my shirts. And
You still look really skinny. It's kind of embarrassing.
Is he filling this thing out, or what?
That thing's gonna explode.
And I just felt that just focusing on bodybuilding personally, I was just getting my self-esteem was kind of low because I would always just be too concerned about how I looked. And no disrespect to any bodybuilders out there, though. I felt like too little vain for me. I just felt like I was being too vain. Like I just was too selfish. Like just like no one behind me, just all about me.
Right.
And in powerlifting, I have like guys like John behind me and my workout partner, and my couple of sponsors like 8Man and Live Well. Definitely one shout out for keeping me healthy, and especially this past year. Without them, I definitely don't know where I'd be.
Right. How'd you get into lifting weights? Period.
I started out in St. Martin at 14. Down there, just hardly anyone speaks English. It's a French and Dutch Caribbean island, and I was.
Where the fuck is that?
Does everyone look like you down there?
Actually,
where is that?
It's
is it near New York, or where is it?
No, it's south, and it's sort of near. Like,
do you know where it's at?
I'm not. Geography is not my specialty, unfortunately.
You said the Caribbean somewhere?
Yeah, St. Martin.
St. Martin.
Yeah, it's sort of near Haiti down there, south.
Gotcha. South of Florida or something.
Yeah, south of Florida, right? I definitely was not a very confident kid. I got bullied a lot, and I just got taken advantage of.
Even in a small community?
Even in a small community, yeah. It was just a rough island, too,
Yeah.
I mean, I could hardly communicate with any of the kids down there, and my mom just moved out of the city. She brought me because she wanted an easier and less stressful life, and, what better place than, like, the Caribbean, where most people see as paradise. Personally, I hated it. I don't really like the hot climate every day. I like the seasons, and I also couldn't go to school down there because only French and Dutch. Okay. And there was one English school. It was private. Couldn't afford it. So I had nothing to do but ride my bike every day and skip rocks or swim. It was boring. So I was like, well, I got to find something to do with my time.
So video games showed up.
Video games showed up. World of Warcraft, things like that. And that wasn't cutting it. I just started getting I got a pull-up bar from Odell's, and that's what got me started. I got chin-ups every day, push-ups, saved up some money for a barbell from us from Odell's, and got like a couple 45, just started doing floor presses literally every day.
How'd you even know what a floor press was?
YouTube.
You started watching some YouTube?
Floor?
I couldn't get my elbows past the floor, so that's the best I can do. I mean, there's like 2 gyms on the island. Once again, I had to be 16 to join. So I was like, that's the best I could do.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the best I can do. But
your mom was real supportive, though. She bought the weights for you and stuff like that, or
yeah, she did. She bought the weights for me, and she supported me all the way until I was about 17. So I started making money on my own. And
just like, see you later, buddy.
yeah. She definitely got on my case about that.
What kind of weights were you moving then when you were just kind of doing these floor presses and stuff? Were you able to move around 2-3 plates, or what kind of weight? Do you remember it all?
Yeah, I started out with a 35 on each side for like probably sets of 8. I just went until I felt a pump and I stopped. I didn't know rep schemes, or I didn't really know that until I was about 18, 19. It took me a long time to figure all that out.
So without a lifting rack too, if you're doing a floor press, you just throw the weight back behind you?
Yeah, throw it right behind me.
Just throw it like towards your head, right? Right. Without a rack to put it back into.
Well, I actually push it forward, like roll it off my stomach.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I would do curls with it. I would just figure out whatever I could do with the barbell. I mean, it's pretty much what I do now. I only train with a barbell.
Yeah.
Except I have a bench and squat rack. So.
Right. Did you build up some pretty good strength and muscle that way?
Yeah, I actually have a throwback pictures from when I was 15, and I was ripped.
Instagram or something?
Yeah, it's on my Instagram. It's on my Instagram.
Let's check around.
Yeah.
Throwback Thursday, perhaps.
Yeah.
When did you move back to New York with a kind of more normal society?
When I was just a couple months before my 16th birthday. Yeah, and as soon as I got back to the city, I couldn't wait to join a gym. That was the first thing on my mind. After being out of school for a couple of years, I would have either had to start in the 8th grade at like 16 years old and finish at 21 or just get my GED. So that's what I did. I just went to a GED prep program. That's why, and yeah, that's one right there.
Crazy.
Yeah.
How old are you right there? Like 16?
Yeah, about 16, 15 going 16, yeah. Yeah. And
says, what does it say? Does it say that you weighed 195? What does it say?
There, maybe 165.
I think that's spotting somebody.
Yeah, spotting somebody. Yeah. Yeah, at the time, I thought that was the most impressive thing I've ever seen.
Yeah.
I think it's like a 4 or 5 for a double there.
Right.
Yeah, and
That's pretty cool. How'd you get involved in powerlifting?
My workout partner when I turned 17, at Jay's Big Gym. Like, rewind a bit. Yeah, Jay's Big Gym was like when I started taking it seriously about 17, and that's also when I started taking enhancements. I started very early, and this guy
back up a second.
Yeah.
What was this gym like? These kind of gyms that you're going to at 15 to 17 years old?
They were commercial gyms. They weren't powerlifting gyms. They were really bodybuilding gyms, hardcore bodybuilding gyms. And just the environment was just all bodybuilders except this one particular guy.
But a lot of people there were fucking jacked, right?
Yeah, they're all jacked. Yeah.
I don't know. I grew up in the same environment, like where I'm from in New York, it was the same way. Like everybody was, I can't remember somebody who was under 250 pounds. Everybody was fucking big for whatever reason,
Yeah, and that's sort of what pushed me to get huge, because I was like, well, I'm the smallest guy in the gym, and that's got to change, Right. And yeah, my workout partner at 17, he happened to be a veteran from Iraq. He served for a few years, and he was crazy, and he just got me into partying and taking all sorts of crap, and he told me a little about powerlifting, and I mean, he was a core squatter himself, so, but.
Where's mom and dad at this point?
Dad, he left when I was very young, like 2 years old. And mom, she's still up in the Bronx. She keeps an eye out for me. She thinks powerlifting meets are too long and smelly and boring and loud. So.
She's fucking right. Yeah. You got a smart mom.
Yeah. So after her second powerlifting meet, she attended. She's like, I can't do this ever again. So like, no problem.
Too gross.
Yeah.
Too many fat guys.
You play any traditional sports growing up? You said you rode your bike and stuff a bunch. You play any sports?
Just video games. That's it.
Just Madden?
Yeah.
Varsity Madden? Starting quarterback?
Yeah. That's about it.
What about just being in school? Well, I guess you said your education was at home mostly.
Yeah.
Did you still go to school at all or no?
Like I said, I got my GD at 17, and I was just in a program where I was only in school for 3 hours a day. It was very unconventional, and I had a ton of free time.
So it wasn't like you went to school where there was like PE, and then somebody finds out that you run a 10.5 100-meter dash.
No, yeah, I didn't have that, not at all.
Did you ever do track or anything like that, or
nothing at all?
Did you ever race any friends and just smoke them?
Yeah, I did that. I did do that. I arm wrestled a ton, and yeah, that's it.
I mean, you obviously look like you're built like a top level athlete, so that's why I ask. But once you had your friend kind of talk to you about powerlifting, and how did you start competing right away, or you started lifting heavier, or what was the process there?
Yeah, he wasn't too into it himself. He just liked lifting heavy and being big, but I wanted to just have a goal to work towards. And that was around the time where I was starting to get bored with bodybuilding and wanted to try something new. And me not having any background in sports, football was actually my priority, even though I never actually watched any football. I just like to play. And I mean, I would toss football around. I would run back and forth from the field. But, I was never actually on a team, which I always dreamed of, like having actually, being in a school and being on a team.
Philadelphia Eagles, if you're out there, if you're listening, or anybody else, Niners. The Niners could use some help.
The Niners or the Browns.
And he showed me a couple of pics of him bending the bar, like literally the bar was like bent, and some cheap gym, like when he was when he was enlisted, and I just thought it was the coolest thing, and just seeing just the plates just rack up on the bar, and just being the strongest guy in the gym is all I wanted to do. I mean, I had pretty simple goals in power when I was 17. I just wanted to get stronger at that point, and I was getting strong at a very fast rate. It was just I had newbie gains. It was ridiculous, and I wanted to keep getting strong at a very fast rate.
Did you continue to learn and read on YouTube and stuff, or at that point we were just out there smashing?
No, I continued to learn. Though it was still mostly YouTube. I stuck to 5x5 pretty much until I was about 19.
Yeah.
Just do a 5x5, and I would get a pump after the end of the workout. That's just about it. It wasn't
nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, I kept it really, really simple, and it's really worked out for me. Every time I tried to try something new, like dumbbell presses or pause deadlift at that time, anything like Kabuki Strength or somebody like that would put up, I just didn't have. it was too much for me, So I just kept it really simple, and it worked out for me. Yeah.
Something too unconventional, you weren't feeling it.
Yeah. Incline bench was like the most I would do.
Right.
Groundbreaking exercise. Right there.
Top secret.
Yeah.
Keeping it simple. And then how'd you do in your first powerlifting meet?
Let's see. I should know this, but I did around 1,800.
RPS Newark.
Yeah, RPS Newark. It was 18. I did it in wraps. And actually at that time.
You guys know each other at that time?
No.
Oh.
Yeah. I did it in knee wraps. Yeah.
Cheater.
I did about 700. Yeah, and 500 bench and like a 725 deadlift. Yeah.
That all?
Yeah.
Not
Strong, man.
Yeah, it wasn't too bad. Yeah.
Not a bad showing for your first time out.
Yeah.
Did you have somebody who like coached you? You said you had this guy who was kind of, I guess, showing you some stuff. But was this guy teaching you how to squat and stuff like that too? Teaching a technique and form, or not really?
He just taught me how to be really aggressive, and that was about it. He didn't know what he was doing, and
right.
I mean, looking back now, he definitely didn't know. But he just taught me how to be aggressive and confident, and I mean that's always stuck with me. Though, yeah, technique I really didn't learn until pretty much this year. Very recent.
So you said that you started taking stuff at 17. That's not old enough to vote. It's barely old enough to drive. It's not old enough for a drink. Do you look back at that moment a little bit and kind of resent maybe someone who may have presented it to you at such a young age, or are you okay with it?
I feel, I could have said no, just like anyone else could
Had
have.
the option, yeah?
Yeah, and I said yes. I knew exactly what I was doing. I knew the consequences. I knew my balls would shrink, and I knew, maybe get gyno and all this and that, and maybe never have kids, but I accepted it. I just really, I guess, was more, looking back now, a little bit more passionate than others may have been about getting bigger and stronger.
So you may have already been like reading about it, and you had some knowledge base of it enough to understand what you're getting into.
Yeah, I definitely knew what the worst could be, and knowing that, I just always said, well, if as long as it's under moderation, I take it little as possible,
right,
and I'll be fine, and
right.
I didn't drink, I didn't do any of the drugs, and I turned out fine.
Right.
Yeah.
Seems to be working okay.
Yeah.
John, give us more of your background,
Sure.
in just kind of your upbringings, and
Yeah.
I know that you did some wrestling and stuff like that. And
Real wrestling.
yeah, some real wrestling.
Wrestling.
Not pro.
No.
Amateur wrestling.
Amateur.
All that
Yes.
protective headgear.
Yeah, I'll try and be brief because there's a lot of twists and turns. But basically, I was an athlete as well, and football player. Wrestling was really my passion, and what I really liked about wrestling is that it was one-on-one, and basically, like, your fate was in your own hands, and the work you put in, everything was a direct result of like what you did. You won and lost. You didn't have to rely on a team. You could only rely on yourself. You couldn't make excuses. If you won, it was your fault, and if you lost, it was your fault. And I learned a lot of determination, sacrifice, work ethic, and a lot of mental toughness from wrestling. I had a lot of injuries, though. I always trained very hard, and I started actually getting into powerlifting. I remember in 8th grade. I did not. I wasn't benching, 500 pounds my first meet. I'll tell you that. I benched 80 pounds.
725.
Yeah, crazy. Yeah,
not a big deal.
Not there yet. I remember my first time benching on the little narrow bench with the hooks in, with sand weights with 80 pounds as an 8th grader. I remember in 9th grade squatting, struggling with 135 to which I know now at the time was a high box. It wasn't even like to depth. But I quickly I started realizing that I could also control my strength, and the stronger I got, I performed better on the field and also performed better on the mat. But I didn't really train the right way, and I had a lot of injuries. I tore my oblique in my junior year. I tore my hamstring my senior year, first football practice, and basically in my senior year, I was wrestling on one leg. I beat some all-state guys. I beat some all-county guys, but my goal was to be an all-county wrestler, and I ended up losing in double overtime in the round to place to the counties, and it was one of the most devastating things. And I actually lost in double overtime with like 12 seconds to go. It was like really. I'm not gonna lie, it messed up my head for a while, but that was kind of the moment
Who is
where.
this guy?
Yeah, who's the guy that beat me? Oh man. this kid from Garden City. I think it was like Buchowski or something.
Buchowski, you motherfucker.
And if you're watching this,
fucked up my man's life.
Just know I'd fuck you up now, son.
Yeah.
Okay. So,
yeah, where you at, motherfucker?
But anyway, honestly, losing that match was probably the best thing that could happen to me. So I vowed to I told myself. If I wasn't an all-county wrestler, I wasn't going to wrestle in college. I was going to start powerlifting.
You stop punching our table.
Sorry.
This is very expensive.
I'm getting a little fired up. It's some bad memories. So, but I vowed that I always wanted to get into coaching. At the time, I was helping with the kid wrestling program at my old high school, Plain Edge, and I vowed that I never want to let to anyone go through the heartache and the kind of feeling of defeat that I went through, because I worked my ass off and I didn't hit my goal. And I went to morning wrestling. I got up at 6 a.m. I would weightlift in season, off season, running. Believe it or not, I ran like a low 6-minute mile. I know it's like crazy to think, but
Jesus,
I had lost. I want to rewind a little bit. 9th grade, I was 275 of mostly fat. not much has changed now, but I lost about 80 pounds. I got down to 189. Wrestled at 189 for 2 years, and I was a very light 215-pounder. And I started competing in the powerlifting as a 198-pounder, believe it or not.
When you first came into the sport?
And my first meet, I remember, was not a 700-pound squat or anything like that. I squatted 375. I benched 225. I learned how to pause that meet. And I deadlifted 465. So it was like a little over like 1,000-pound total or something.
How'd you get
like
into powerlifting?
So actually, shout out to Will Ellinger, was my middle school wrestling coach, and he was an old school powerlifter. He still trains some kids for wrestling. And and like I said, I don't think he always preached the importance of strength. We didn't really like learn a lot of technique or any fancy programs, but he was really, like talk about strength is never weakness. And that was something that was always instilled in me. And I just like fell in love with lifting weights at an early age and started coaching wrestling, started coaching people. I started volunteering, helping out the old high school wrestling team. And I noticed that when I taught the kids how to lift properly, they did better. It was like this crazy thing. We started getting all county kids, all state kids. I trained a kid in my early years. He went 50-0. His senior year, won the states. I had a kid that went to Harvard because through wrestling, he was a 2-time county champ. 4-year started for Harvard, went to the NCAAs, and just because I taught them how to lift properly and they like the strength and conditioning that we did, and that's how I actually got started as a coach. I never thought that I'd be coaching powerlifting world record holders or anything like that, but I just always preached that strength was important. And that's
coaching is coaching,
and,
and if you're a good coach in fucking tennis, you could coach somebody in anything else too, because coaching is coaching. It's about getting people excited, about inspiring people and motivating people and keeping them on point.
So not to kind of ramble on and on about that, that's kind of like the in a nutshell version, but that's when I decided I went to Westside Barbell, went to Elite, learned from your first seminar. Right. I mean, honestly, and I'm still learning today, 10 years in. I think that's the thing. We met at Zach Evaness's gym. Zach always says, one of the things he loves about me the most, you have a white belt mentality. You're always willing to learn no matter how good you are. And I think that's like one of my things that I value being humble. And like I said, the system that we do works for world record holders and people kind of just starting out. And I think, and that's for me, like, I know that this is my mission. And I'm, getting those injuries in high school really made me the man I am today. To learn, like, I never want anyone to kind of go through that. Now I'm teaching people how to lift the right way, train the right way. Now we're, building people like this.
Well, now you have a gym, where you have probably 100 people or so that are coming through that gym.
Yeah, I work with, give or take between like my online clientele and the team, a little over 100 people at a given time, and got several employees and
basically test subjects that you've been testing your theories on.
Yeah, a lot of guinea pigs, and I'm always constantly tweaking things, getting a little better, and figuring out what works. And everyone's different, so yeah, it's been a wild ride, but man, I feel like I'm just getting started.
How far away do you guys live from each other?
2 hours.
Yeah, so unfortunately we don't get to train together as much as we'd like, but what's really good is we stay connected with the internet and social media through text, things like that. And what the amazing thing about Larry is the first couple of times that we started working together in person, I'd show him something one time And he's like, oh, you do it like this, you mean? And it's just like,
And you do it better than you just showed, right?
I'm like,
you're like,
what
fuck.
the fuck? I'm like, why am I even like, maybe you should like show me how to do that. Like, you know, but I mean, like, that's like, if he played football, he has that natural athletic ability.
Right.
And that is something that like not everyone could do. So, I mean, if you look at what his lifts were like at 19 and what his lifts look like now, if you look at some of his old videos, I mean, you know, nothing against Larry, but kind of amateur, like kind of just reckless and things like that. Now,
Extremely rounded over in a lot of deadlifts
he
and
looks,
stuff. And then even when he pulled 826 at the meet,
I mean, unbelievable.
this weekend, he wasn't rounded over at all.
He didn't really look like he made all the lifts look easy. I mean, he looks like a professional now, and that's a testament to him and the work that he's put in. But now it's like we always talk about, you know, strength is a skill. It's not just training. You know, squat, bench, deadlifts, and athletic movement. It's something you got to practice your technique, and there's nothing wrong with stripping a little weight down and actually training within your means a little bit. And I think holding him back, it sounds crazy, but actually having to hold him back a little bit, kind of keep him in, you know, in the kind of like, oh,
yeah, he's so explosive.
Slow down a little bit. Yeah.
His engine is so powerful, basically, that he could just blow himself apart.
Yeah.
Like, the explosiveness he has in the bench, and especially in a deadlift, I'd imagine that reserving that a little bit is probably beneficial, because otherwise he'd just fuck himself up.
Yeah, we talk about the analogy, you know, shooting a cannon from a canoe, and, you know, if you don't have the stability to kind of control your power, that could be a recipe for disaster. And I think that's why I had a lot of injuries in high school, because I trained my balls off, but I didn't do the things to kind of keep healthy, kind of the, you know, stability exercises, you know, things like just simple things like, you know, really dial in breathing, core training, activating your glutes, activating your upper back, and making sure things are moving the right way, nice and stable, and really refining the technique as well.
My brother and I began 8 Man Strong with a simple idea: to encourage strength in this world, to bring back to life the grit found only in generations of the past. And while our brand has evolved since its founding, its core values have remained unchanged. We are here to promote strength, will, determination, and fight in people, to celebrate the strong and to inspire those that need it. This is what it means to put on the 8 Man brand. So wherever you find yourself today on your personal journey towards strength, we encourage you to always move forward despite any obstacles you may face, and we hope you will do it wearing 8 Man. 8manstrong.com, apparel for people who lift heavy weights.
Larry, you said your goal was you want to be the strongest guy in the gym. I imagine you hit that pretty quick. Then your first meet, you go 757, which even nowadays will get some looks and attention at any gym or any meet. Then for the last year and a half, maybe 2 years, you've been in the talks of the strongest 220, 242, whatever size guy, middleweight guy. And then you just crushed this record, whatever, yesterday, I guess, 2 days ago. What are your goals, maybe long-term or the next couple of years?
Well, my next meet I'm looking forward to would be around April. I hear some talk about Gracie Vanessa hosting a meet, and I'd like to break 23 at 242 in wraps. Maybe sound a little ambitious right now.
So go back to wraps?
Yeah, go back to wraps. I haven't used them since I was 18, and I actually loved them when I had them on, but I would love them a little too much. I wouldn't want to train in sleeves, and I would just dive bomb in the hole. I just had a lot of fun with it, but I'm looking forward to get back into it now. It's a little bit more of a fine lifter and see what I'm capable of. But yeah, short term, I'd say break it 23, 242, and then long term, 24, 275. We'll see, you know.
Yeah. So maybe, because what do you walk around at? What's your body weight at today?
255, 260.
Yeah. So maybe let yourself. I mean, you are still really young. Just let yourself grow into it a little bit.
Yeah, I want to give myself time to put on some actual quality lean muscle mass. Maybe blow up to 290 in the next 2-3 years. And
Mark can help you with that. He's really good at gaining weight.
He's good at fluffing up.
Yeah, and then 275 is probably the highest I ever want to go.
Until you're 275, and then you'll want to be 308.
Yeah, I'm sort of never really satisfied. Yeah.
8, 6, and 8. 800-pound squat and a 600-pound bench and 800-pound deadlift hasn't been done by a lot of people, but to me it shows somebody being really well-rounded. Rhino is one guy who's done it before.
Our boy Josh Morris.
Yeah. He's a big son of a bitch. So it's really rare to see somebody lift like that. What do you attribute your, you being well balanced to? Just maybe the bodybuilding background, or?
I'd say maybe doing all those floor presses off my wooden floor when I was 15, 14 made a difference, because other than that, I feel like I haven't done anything too different from anybody else.
Right. Just building a foundation from when you're young and sticking with it for a long time.
Exactly. I definitely had a couple of injuries. I mean, I tore my my right hamstring about a year and a half ago, and it took me about 8-9 months to recover. Couldn't do any squatting. I don't know what happened to my back when I was about 19, but I kept yanking on the bar when I deadlift and yanking too hard with a really rounded back and wasn't bracing my core. And I remember limping for a week. I had to take a cab home because I couldn't walk. So I was really terrified. I don't know what the hell happened, but luckily after a couple of weeks, it just sort of faded away, and I didn't even go to the doctor. But anyways, I'd say, like John made a good point, just to reserve the power, just take it down a notch. Don't go in the gym every week and attempt a new PR or, every other week or however often, just save it for when it really matters, like on, meet day, game day, whatever that is, whatever sport you may be in, just being consistent and knowing your limits and training and, just holding back a little bit. That's all.
Are you okay with listening to what he programs for you, and have you been from the start? Or has it been a little bit of a struggle, maybe a little bit here and there?
Talk about when you started versus what you've been doing the last, especially the last 2-3 training cycles, been, I'd say, night and day. But
the hardest part was just not wanting to burn myself out in the gym. Just even the hardest part is going to the gym. You feel great, and that when I first started working with John, he'd maybe say, just do 65% today. And to me, that meant, well, if I feel good, I'll go 85%. And if I feel even better, I'll go 100. Why not 110? So that was the hardest part, just being disciplined and just sticking to whatever John said. That's all.
Yeah, I think that's everyone.
Yeah.
I was just even talking to Tom Callis on the side about some of his squats and everybody, and that's what everybody wants to do. We start this sport to lift heavy because it helps our endorphins, and we feel good when we do something heavy.
Yeah.
But then at some point, you're gonna have to figure shit out if you want to progress.
Judging by how you feel is a horrible way to try to go through your
sometimes,
training. It really is.
Yeah.
It doesn't work. They say that by the time you realize that you're hungry or thirsty, it's already too late.
Yeah.
Our body doesn't do a great job of recognizing. Maybe on occasion it recognizes, okay, my elbow doesn't hurt today or knee doesn't hurt today. That's a little bit different, but your body's not great at regulating a lot of the stuff. And I know Mike sometimes he'll start squatting. He'll squat 2 plates. He'll be like, "Fuck." He'll still go through with whatever he had planned. He'll still do those 3 sets of 3 with 405 or whatever it was for the day. He'll just go through it because that's what's scheduled. That's what he's supposed to do. And there's room to toggle, 10, 20 pounds here or there. You'd make a game day decision and change things up a little bit. But the reverse of that is also true. We're all gonna lie to ourselves.
yeah.
We're going to lie to ourselves as much as we can so we can get to that heavy weight. That's what we want to do. We want to lift fucking heavy weight.
I just feel it doesn't happen in other sports. You don't see Tom Brady bad day. I'm gonna only play the first 2 quarters. All right, they're no, you got work to do, whatever it is. You got to show up and fucking do it. And if you feel good or not, and it's not like he's oh, coach, I feel great. Let's throw Hail Marys all day. That doesn't fucking work either.
Right. Yeah, and I think it's just going by how you feel, we're all going to lie to ourselves each time, and you're going to say, you're going to think that you feel good. You're going to talk yourself into that because you want to go nuts. You want to lift heavy. That's how we're judged. Yeah. It's not good enough just to have the 242 record. It's not good enough just to, bench 573 pounds. You have to do it that day so everybody sees it again. It's just in our heads. We're mental about it.
You're always so explosive.
Yeah, I always say I was explosive. When I would race my friends around, I'd always finish before them, and I always blew the barbell off my chest. And I mean, I've always been explosive.
So there's some things people, they'll throw in dynamic work or whatever it might be and be like, oh, let's make this guy more explosive. But it's a little bit you can't really coach speed. You can't really coach height. Maybe you can get somebody a little faster than they used to be, but you can't make somebody a fucking thoroughbred out of nowhere.
Yeah. Right. So you're doing some different things with him because it's
it's a great topic. I can't wait to talk about this.
Well, let's say Silent Mike is working with a kid that weighs 170 and they've only been lifting for a year. Mike might schedule the kid out to do some hypertrophy for a while. You can check the hypertrophy list off. I think he's acquired plenty of that.
A really good point.
So it's how many pull downs and seated rows does the guy need to do? He probably doesn't need to do any of them, right?
So I actually I'll talk about the hypertrophy thing, and then I'll talk about the programming piece because I think both are important. So when I was at Boss of Bosses, I noticed this really immediately. Everyone looks like an off-season bodybuilder that did really well. It's from everyone from
Especially in that weight class, too.
Well, I'm saying from Malik, like the 181 guy.
Yeah.
I mean, all the way up to like you got Herbert and like even like
Herbert's jacked.
I mean,
Herbie?
dude,
Holy
he's
shit.
got his
muscles coming out of his fucking
muscles
ears
have
and
muscles.
shit.
I think
Herbie's jacked.
I mean, dude,
Guy's yoked.
Dan, Kevin Oak. I mean, all those guys.
Yeah,
I
that
mean,
Mark Bell, that
it just-
Silent Mike, they're fucking jacked.
Yeah.
Follow their shit.
So you can check that hypertrophy box off. So the thing is, like, if someone doesn't have the muscle mass already, it's going to be very hard for them to kind of do what Larry's doing, and also just kind of, So we talk about you got to try and find the optimal weight class based on like your body fat percentage and your muscle mass, things like that. So I think people need to spend a little bit more time building versus testing. So building up the hypertrophy base, but getting some muscle mass, doing some bodybuilding stuff. Like I think when all of us started, we didn't, we probably did some bodybuilding type work or higher reps.
How
and
do you
things.
separate that out? What's that mean for you?
So basically, I learned a lot of stuff from Chad Smith and Juggernaut. So
He looks like a goddamn bodybuilder.
Yeah,
I know.
Good hypertrophy coach.
great hypertrophy. But I
I
think
saw him at the Olympias in a tank top. He's like, I'm going through my hypertrophy phase. I'm like, oh my God. Not working, Chad.
so.
His off season is a little more off than others,
Yeah.
I think, in terms of bodybuilding.
So
Sorry, Chad. Love you, buddy.
Chad, we love you. But I think he does a really great job of having like a phasic structure. So each phase has a goal. So we talk about, you guys talk about having an intent of the day. We also have an intent of the phase. So if we're a couple of months out from a meet, we don't need to be hitting doubles, singles, triples. We could do sets of 8, sets of 10. As much as we might not like to do it, and it may seem like cardio, that's going to help build up a lot of muscle mass. Going to be more time under tension. Another shout out to you, Mark, but using the underloading technique, so things like high bar squats without a belt, or maybe stiff leg deadlifts.
Things that just force you to use less.
You can't
weight.
use as much weight. It's a little longer range of motion, a little more time under tension, and that's going to help build the muscles, and it's going to force things harder. And like I said, even today with myself, I've been doing a lot of high bar beltless work, 400 or 500 range, and I had a 750-pound reverse band squat today that I smashed without really peaking for it, just kind of underloading. So I'm just going to give myself a little shout out for that. I do actually lift too. I don't just coach. So again, this is the real point though I want to drive home. So we could check the hypertrophy box off for him. But we have a system that we use, and it works for Larry, and it works for the novice, and it works for the intermediate. We have people starting out. We have people in the intermediate phase that are nationally ranked, doing the Arnold and things like that, USAPL Nationals, and we got people like him breaking world records. I think that we're not as special as we think we are sometimes.
Yeah,
and
I would agree with that.
And I think people get too caught up with, I need this customized this, and I need the
doesn't
special
have to be a
program.
snowflake program.
It's like, dude, it's like, you got to bench squat and deadlift. You got a better technique in the bench squat and deadlift. You got to, do some accessory
You have
work.
to manage
You
how
gotta-
heavy you go. You got to
what I
be able to
mean?
recover from the workouts.
And you have
It's all
to have
same shit.
whether it's undulating, conjugate, or whatever. When you spread it out, you have some sort of linear progression where you go from hypertrophy to strength to peaking, and then you have a taper, no matter what program you're on. So we like an undulating kind of style where we'll start with kind of a higher volume or intensity, then go down a little bit to moderate, so you get a little bit of a break. Then the third week is extremely difficult, a lot of either higher volume or more intensity. And the fourth week we'll do some type of deload, or maybe we do some sort of test where we do like a rep max, just to kind of see where our strength is at. So like once a month we'll kind of see like where we're at, or an AMRAP set. I know like Mike's big on those and things like that, just so we can kind of project out. All right, well, how's the program? Is it working? Is
Test
it not?
without testing.
Yeah. So it's still like, we're not like actually
And a way
taking
to make
single.
him feel like a
Yeah.
gorilla, like he can
And-
go in and fucking just smash on something and feel good about it.
Even though the only PR that really matters is the meet PR, hitting a rep PR is still great for the mind too.
It feels
and knowing
good, yeah.
that you make progress. So I guess my main point is, and I will say there are some differences with someone like that's heavier versus a female or a lighter weight. So especially when it comes down to the peaking phase, he's going to need a longer taper for someone that's an 800+ pound deadlifter than someone that's a 200 pound female deadlifter.
Right.
They may only need a couple of days
last
to taper.
heavy deadlift could be 3 weeks before
It might,
the
yeah.
meet.
I think our less heavy deadlifts maybe even like a month out, like 4 weeks out, and then we kind of start to dial things back on the deadlifts. Usually takes a little bit longer to recover. The more weight you do, the heavier you are in general, longer taper. So we adjust it, but there's a system that we use, and we go from basically a hypertrophy phase to a strength phase, to a peaking phase, and a taper depending on your size, how much hypertrophy, muscle mass, male or female. The lighter weight guys and the females tend to taper a little bit. The fatigue drops quicker. Someone like Larry or bigger guys are going to take a little bit longer to drop the fatigue, so they need a little bit longer taper and kind of dial things back, a couple of weeks out from the meet.
What about frequency for someone like him compared to somebody else, or even your just thoughts in general?
Yeah, so my biggest kind of argument right now, or qualm with what's going on in the powerlifting world, I see a lot of guys getting banged up. I see a lot of guys training too heavy close to a meet. I see a lot of injuries, torn muscles, things like that.
People are squatting the day before the meet.
Drives me.
What the fuck is going on?
Can we F-bomb on this? It drives me fucking insane that people are fucking doing this.
We got to edit that.
So, but seriously, like, guys, like, if you're worried about, like, your opener, or you're worried about, like, squatting the day before the meet, we got some other, like, issues mentally, I think. But anyway, so we talked about frequency. So my feeling is there's different philosophies. And our feeling is the least effective minimal dose. What's the least amount of training that we can make progress? Why? Because it's not just about one training cycle. It's about 10, 20, 15 training cycles strung together. Not 1 year of training. How about a decade of training? Even someone like Larry, he's been training since 14. He's 21 now. So guys, like, oh my God, he's 21. Dude, he's been training hard since 14. He wasn't drinking, not partying.
You just ask anyone in the world about any topic. How many? Oh, sorry.
Halftime. Jesus Christ.
How many people have been done anything for over 5 years straight?
So that's true. So I've been powerlifting for over a decade. So although I'm not the best lifter, FYI, I have squatted 900 in a suit in competition. I've squatted 700 in a belt. I don't think that's like too bad, but I'm not. I'm never saying I'm the best lifter.
You've also improved a lot, which is the main thing.
My first meet squatted 375 in a belt. And my best my best squat without wraps is 700. I'd say I'm pretty damn proud of that. Because I don't think like I have the best genetics. Like I said, I was never an all-county wrestler. I wasn't this all-American baseball player or anything like that.
Rich Froning.
Freak. But to go back to Mike's question about frequency. It's going to depend. But again, for girls, typically what I like to for everyone, we like to start them off 3 times a week, and we could build it up to 4. We usually top out at 4, maybe 5.
The girls, you just tell them to come to your gym 7 days a week.
the girls can come.
They come more frequently.
So,
hey now.
So someone like a bigger guy, maybe they only have like a designated squat day, a bench day, and a deadlift day, and then maybe there's a secondary bench day. For a girl, a lot of my distance clients are women. A lot of like people that they travel from New Jersey, New York City. And they travel to Long Island.
You work with people from Jersey?
I know, it's crazy, right?
You shouldn't be doing that.
We typically, for them, they'll squat twice a week. They'll do some sort of press 3 times a week. And they'll deadlift once a week. So it's a little bit more frequency for the girls. And we kind of try to get that in a 3-day period. And as they get more advanced, they can add a 4th day. I like to start off with 3 days a week and lower frequency, lower volume, because it gives us somewhere to go. It's kind of like having that ace in the hole. We're saving it for later. If we start off squatting every day or training 5-6 days a week, where do you go?
Yeah, when you plateau.
So that's my kind of issue.
We call that a crescendo in music.
So you kind of change it up a little bit here and there.
Yeah, so basically we try to start off with the lowest amount of volume, lowest amount of frequency, and basically until they stall, and then we'll kind of go from there. But in general, again, women usually do a little bit better with higher volume, higher frequency. They could typically use a higher percentage of their 1 rep max for more repetitions. Someone like Larry, who's super explosive, we got to pull it back a little bit. So you would think maybe someone like him is going to do more frequency, but it's actually the opposite because he's so efficient and he's such better output than someone that's, say, deadlifting 225. And they could probably, deadlift a couple of times a week and they'll be fine because they just can't put as much force and their nervous system isn't going to get fried.
So Larry, going to this meet, you basically bench squat and dead once a week?
Yeah, so basically just like one time a week, and then maybe like twice a week occasionally for bench, but mainly just like three main kind of days, and then we really start to pull it back. And like I said, 3-4 weeks out from the meets, it's heaviest stuff, and then we start to kind of dial things back.
Yeah, and
quite a bit.
Just to clear things up a little bit, a lot of times people do their upper body twice a week because the lower body is getting hit twice a week from squatting and deadlifting, and then also there's smaller muscles in the upper body. You might not always get a chance to get to your direct bicep and shoulder and whatever else work that you want to get. Do you have to Larry, do you sometimes get bored with like something that he might program for you, and on your end, do you have to sometimes program stuff in that you know he's going to kind of like? Because it seems like he wants to be real active in the gym. I know, like you said, you were going to try to bench press today. So, are you sometimes bored by what he sends you, and is it hard for you to follow it?
When I first started with him, yeah, I definitely just wanted to go heavy all the time. Though now that I'm pretty satisfied.
It's
Kicking someone's ass is fun, right?
yeah.
I'm happy. I'm actually looking forward to tapering down and getting to the hypertrophy phase and just not feeling like I can't walk the next day or I don't want to do anything because, you know, it's exhausting hitting a new 1-rep max or even an AMRAP. I mean, actually, AMRAP is definitely a lot less. Like, he didn't make a point about the explosiveness. Yeah, hitting an AMRAP is, I feel I recover much faster than hitting a 1 or 3 rep max.
Yeah,
you know? He, for the hypertrophy phase and maybe the strength building phase may go on from next week until February, for example. And I just did 2 meets back to back between bosses and
quick turnaround.
Yeah, and I'm looking forward to tapering down. So anything he throws at me, as long as I'm in the gym no more than like 4 days a week, I'm happy.
What were the best lifts at Boss of Bosses?
You don't remember? I could.
Yeah, 766 squat. Did a 540 bench and. Finished with a 778 deadlift.
What's the big difference between that meet and this last meet? There's only a couple, 3 months apart or less?
We had about 8. It was an 8-week prep. I think we took like a week down week, and then we had 8 weeks training.
Yeah, so they're very similar.
Yeah.
What changed mentally or training wise?
During the last prep, I definitely didn't have a competition pause on my bench, so maybe I can touch and go 600, but I couldn't, have a 2-second pause on 560. That's what happened on my. And also, most importantly, my nutrition the day before the meet. Boss of Bosses, I had hanging out with Shawnee Pagani.
Oh, Shawnee. Johnny.
And he's basically like a 165er. He's also a competitive lifter. He's great, but he can eat anything in sight. He stays relatively lean, and by that he had, that day I started out with like a banana Nutella crepe, and then for lunch I had like a large pizza. It was just horrible, and I had the worst cramps of my life the day of the meet. And I felt fine during the squats, but just a couple hours later, after pissing about 15 times, I pissed out all my water. I wasn't holding on to it, even though I was drinking it during the meet. And I couldn't get past my second attempt bench because I was worried of tearing something. Though Stan Efforting, he was there and he helped me out having some, also a bunch of other people helped me out taking some noon tab to get some electrolytes in me, some sodium, and I would manage to finish with a decent deadlift.
Things turned around once we got the water and the electrolytes back in you, and I learned never to leave you alone the day before a meet after that.
Yeah. So in training-wise, not too much has changed. Really, almost nothing has changed. It's relatively the same program, though I think that dehydration is what really hindered my performance on Bosses. Yeah.
Could be huge, yeah. And then, sometimes what I've noticed with lifters that do meets that are close together is that the forced rest seems to do really well for people. So you have the week, maybe the week off before the meet. It's pretty common for lifters to take, 5 to 7 days kind of off of training. And then once they complete a competition, it's very common for lifters to take another 5 to 7 days off of training. So you just peaked for a meet. You just did the Boss of Bosses meet, and then you have a little bit more rest than normal. And then when you come back into training, it's really about just kind of like maintaining, tweaking a little bit. Yep. And then when you get that rest again, you kind of end up with some of that super compensation that you hear people talk about all the time. And you hit the platform, then boom, 826 deadlift. What did you say, 771 or 780?
778. Yeah. He put on a
huge
70,
difference.
It was a 70. No, he broke the record by 70 pounds. It was an 80-pound total PR in 8 weeks, which it's
also
insane.
Also, too, your technique is different on your. I haven't really been watching your squat that much, so I don't know whether that changed or not. But I noticed a change in technique in your bench and your deadlift. Your deadlift, you're kind of diving down to the bar and just ripping it off the floor, which is pretty unconventional. It's really rare to see people do that technique. From what I can recall of your training, I haven't seen you do that often before. Is that something that's been newer?
Yeah, it's definitely newer. I say during bosses, leading up into the meet, I still had a bit of a ramping issue, and not keep my head forward. I would just throw it way back, look at the ceiling, and I would just end up having me go
You'd
backwards.
end up on your knees and your quads, but that was probably because you were rounding too, right? Because your back was rounding a lot.
I would say. I think what caused my back to round was my head positioning. Now I just keep my eyes and head forward, and my back doesn't round.
More neutral.
Yeah, it's much more. It's more neutral now. Though I just keep it simple with my setup on the deadlift. I really don't think about it too much. I just take a big air in my belly and brace my upper back, grab. I don't rip. I don't go 100. 0 to 100 off the ground. I just go maybe 50% and then explode up and keep my head forward.
Kind of get that slack out of there.
Get the slack out of there. And then once it's over my knees, I just make sure I have that cue to just keep looking forward, head forward. Because hips forward, that cue didn't really work for me. Because to me, that just meant hips forward, but my head would keep flying back. So I just try to fire everything at the same time. Head, hips, and upper back. And it's working for me.
It's worked well. And then on the bench press, it seems like you've slowed things down a little bit where, watching you bench press a lot of times is just almost chaotic. Like you drop the weight, then just fucking throw it. And even when you did the 595, I saw you doing training a while back, it was still really explosive. And anytime I seen you do dumbbells, kind of the same thing. It could be 200-pound dumbbells, and you're just tossing these things around like they're candy, like they're nothing. Did you slow your bench down a little bit too? Were you trying to, was that something consciously that you did, or just kind of ended up that way because of the pausing, or?
Yeah. Bringing the bar down to my chest too quickly, I wasn't giving my body enough time to actually absorb the weight and build tension. So now I drop it to about get halfway, and then really slow down and really tighten up, and then
you're able just to feel it a little bit better. You're able to kind of get underneath it maybe a little better.
Yeah, maybe to feel it a bit better and build more tension that way, because just dive bombing it to my chest, I felt like I was just losing all tension. My chest was caved, my back was just almost flattened, and increased my range of motion.
That's what Stan Efferding calls loading up the coil or whatever, where you're creating the tension on the way down to release on the way up.
And one thing they were cueing with him too is just really trying to pull the chest up, trying to meet the bar. To meet your chest to the bar as he was coming down. And in the past, when he would kind of let it drop in, the bar would kind of still bobble a little bit, even when he was pausing. And you could see, even on this 573, it is very clear there the bar stops and there's a pause. So really just focus on stability before the press. And like I said, gathering that tension is something we kind of worked on. It worked really well. This was this is the biggest bench he ever had in a meet, and it's something that he was capable of for a while, but just kind of fixing the technique made a big difference at the meet.
Has it sunk in yet, what you accomplished over the weekend?
Not yet. I hope it's a slow descent.
Yeah. That's actually a question from Instagram, but I think it's a good one. That sometimes we talk about this a lot, that when you accomplish something in powerlifting, anywhere else, all right, what do I do now? And what is it worth? And where do I go from here?
Where do you go?
You said you watched a lot of YouTube and stuff kind of growing up, or even maybe still. Are there certain lifters in powerlifting or otherwise you used to watch or try to emulate or anything like that?
Yeah, definitely. I say my all-time favorite deadlifter and who really got me hooked on powerlifting is Pete Rubich. He loved his aggression.
Everybody's the best.
Yeah, his approach to the bar and how hyped and excited. And that adrenaline rush to get after hitting a big PR is what I always wanted for myself. I always wanted to feel that rush. And I remember he plateaued to be a couple of years, and all of a sudden he's doing was at 950.
And now he's going nuts.
Yeah, it's just ridiculous.
He's doing really well.
And it's just motivating me to see what's possible. As a guy with a similar build, same height, same body weight. And
I have to actually watch out when Pete Rubish hits a PR, because then this guy goes nuts, and he sometimes goes off the program, and anytime so Pete Rubish, just let me know if you're going for a PR, so I can kind of do some damage control before Larry goes to the gym that day.
What do you guys do in recovery-wise? Are you doing anything special? You got him. You go to a chiropractor, massage therapist, anything like that?
I don't see. I do my foam roller, to be honest. And as far as recovery goes, I just really focus on stretching and getting the cross ball and any.
Myofascial release, and so one thing that when Larry was coming to my gym more frequently,
Larry,
I pride myself as being a more, I guess. I'm gonna try to phrase this nicely, but just I care about our lifters' health too.
Yeah,
not just worry about the performance. I'm really happy he broke the all-time world record, but like how do you feel now after totaling almost 2,200 pounds? Are you in a wheelchair?
No.
Feel pretty good, right?
Yeah, I feel great.
And you know why? Because he didn't really honestly grind too much, and he kept really good position. And I think that's something that it's great to hit.
His eyes aren't blown out. He's not
he
coming in here all
really
fucked
good.
up.
I mean, it's really impressive, and it's because he's focusing on his technique. He's doing the right things. He's working on the mobility stuff that he needs. We have a very comprehensive warm up. We focus on mobility in the upper back, thoracic spine, the hips, and the ankles. And then we like to activate, kind of fire up.
That's all the stuff he said he doesn't do. He told me off there. I'm just kidding.
The glutes, I know. The glutes, firing the glutes, activating the glutes, breathing, the core stuff, and the abdominal stuff, and also the upper back. And like I said, it's, why not treat yourself like you said, like a professional athlete? Like I said, James Smith was here, the thinker, and it's really true. And that actually kind of got me going. Man, I got to take care of myself too, and I got to practice what I preach. I got to start eating. So I've been cleaning up my diet and things like that. I mean, the nutrition thing.
You dropped like 20 pounds recently.
About 20 pounds since I saw you, and it's
he
one
said
of those
sore,
things.
by the way. I sore you.
I guess my main thing is like, guys,
That accent.
I'm 10 years in this game. Like I know Mark's been, in gym. I mean, you guys have been doing this forever, and it's like
1,000 years.
I want to be powerlifting until I can't lift anymore, and I want to keep competing. I want to keep coaching people. If you don't have your health, you don't have anything. And like I said, yes, I understand you're going to sacrifice some stuff when you're going for an all-time world record, but he's 21 years
How
old.
cool would it be to still be squatting 3 plates when you're like 60?
Amazing.
Talking
so,
shit.
guys, like, don't just think about. If I could give you any advice, don't just think about this training cycle and this meet. Think about 10 meets down the road and that, because a lot of these guys they fade away and they leave the sport really quick. They're in and they're out.
A lot of people are too worried about what they're going to give up. If Mike said, "Hey, why don't you slow that down a little bit," or if I gave some advice on, "Hey, let's slow the lift down a little bit. Let's be under control a little bit more." Their concern is, I'm going to lift less.
Yeah,
and it's okay. Well, you're going to lift less, but that's for today. Eventually, you'll get back to lifting more. It's just you got to adhere to this kind of form so you don't fuck yourself up.
I couldn't agree more. So, yeah, it's just kind of the thing, I think, because, now powerlifting is getting more popular, and like raw lifting hasn't been around that long. Newsflash for those of you guys who just getting into it. Like,
That's how they used to do it back in the day, though.
Years 1, 2, or 3 of powerlifting is a lot different than 7, 8, 9, 10. So just remember that.
Is this an episode of Star Wars?
Yeah, did you go backwards?
Yeah.
So like I said,
I think Star Wars comes out on your birthday, by the way, Smelly.
Yeah, it
That'll be
does.
my present to you.
Yeah.
We'll go watch Star Wars.
So, Larry, what does your daily eating look like?
Well, up until this meet, it's really been a big meat omelet, like sausage, egg, and cheese, and with some hash browns. And then I'll have some sugar source, like some pancakes or some waffles. It's pretty dirty. And then for lunch, I'll either have some like red meat. I'll have maybe a steak and potatoes, or a bacon cheese. But always have bacon, like at least once a day. Bacon cheeseburger, French fries. It's there's no
Getting calories in.
It's not a big secret, but you are after protein. Like you're trying to get protein source. What about like any supplementation, like a protein shake or anything like that, kind of mixed into the mix at all, or just no?
I take some Green Vibrance daily to flush me out. Otherwise, I may not poop for 2-3 days, and I feel pretty backed up. Despite all the grease, you think you'll like fly right through me unless I have like White Castle or something. But lately, especially like this particular meat prep, like I said, I've been taking it more seriously, and I haven't been going to fast food. So when I say, I have a bacon cheeseburger, or I'll go to get like a cheese omelet, some like quality stores, like at least decent restaurant food, not just McDonald's and Wendy's or whatever is just down the corner, because I live in the city and this is all easily accessible to me. Like literally, I have all these, all this filth just like within walking distance. I don't drive, and I currently have a roommate and a really small, crappy like electric stove, and I don't like cooking on it. And until I move out, I don't plan on cooking on it. So I been going to Whole Foods and just getting big trays of like mac and cheese and big trays of rice, enough to like last me like a couple of weeks.
Right.
And then I have my girlfriend. She'll cook me up like maybe 3-4 days worth of meat. I just throw it in the microwave. And I'll be good to go for like 2-3 meals, and like eat once like for breakfast and lunch, and then the other couple of meals will just be thrown in the microwave from the fridge. Yeah, that's just how I'm doing it right now. That's it. 4 or 5 big meals.
You have one of these guys? Complex?
I do. Yeah, Jesse Burdick gave it to me. It's one of the prizes. Yeah,
I showed him how to use it this weekend. So because I've been playing with it too.
It works the best when you put it on your face.
And ball sack.
like making your
Please do not do
lips
that.
tweak. We have 28% off. Go to compexusa.com. Get 28% off when you type in PowerCast.
Boom.
That's 28% off of the already reduced price. So
That ain't too
Get
bad.
in there, guys.
Ain't too shabby.
Both of you are
Gals.
quite large human beings. Sounds like both of you like food. Someone had to take a epic shit in these combined years. of
Poop
lifting.
must have happened.
Anybody got a story for us?
So I've been thinking about this for a while, but so unfortunately, so
What an opportunity.
being a
He got really excited. We were losing him for a second.
I know. Well, so being a multiply lifter, when you get all the suits
know.
on and things like that, you learn to make sure you take your poops before you put any
This is
of the
correct,
gear
yeah.
on. So this is the kind of the dilemma I
don't
had
wanna be
because
trapped.
I always make sure you poop always before the pre-workout. It's very important. So pre-workout.
Sometimes a pre-workout makes you shit.
Yeah, the pre-workout supplement, or you mean like just pre-working out?
like pre-working out.
Okay.
Oh,
So
okay.
we actually had a guy kind of shit themselves at the gym deadlifting recently.
Call him out. What's his name?
Oh boy. Well, his nickname is Star Wars. He's a Mike also. Star Wars Mike.
Star Wars Mike. You shit yourself, buddy?
Shout out. But he,
Star Wars
But he
Mike.
pulled a PR of over 400, so that was
All right.
that was good for him.
So it's worth it.
Did,
So
you-
what-
did he leave the gym?
I
after he shit
think
himself?
he like got
Or
rid
did
of
he
the
finish his
underwear.
training?
I don't know. Like it's just I kind of try to
Do you
steer.
still do glute ham
steer-
raises and
I
reverse hyper and stuff?
I steer clear of that situation, but you know, it's one of those things. I don't really have a great poop story, but I figured this would be a good substitute. I do have a good fat story for you.
You
Would
are
like
pretty
to-
fat. Go ahead.
Would you like to hear that? So most recently, one of my friends at the gym, she invited me paddle boarding. So I was kind of reluctant. I'm like, do they have like boards for for big fellows? And she assured me that absolutely they do. So anyway, we get to the lake, right?
I just picture you paddleboarding in a hooded sweatshirt, by the way.
So I'm strapping up, I'm getting on, I'm getting ready. They kind of showed me what to do and whatever. And they're like, all right, just go on. So I'm like, I'm sitting on it, I'm kind of figuring it out. I'm on my knees and all this stuff. So now it's like, all right, so now it's time to stand up, and I'm like, this is like rated for for how many pounds, So and all this stuff. So I finally like start to get up a little bit, and the board just starts sinking down. It's just going straight under. And then so I finally get up for like 30 seconds. And I'm in the lake. Boom. Just like the whole thing sinks, it topples over, it's the whole thing. So I'm like, being like a wrestler and everything, I'm determined to freaking get on this freaking board. You know what I mean? So anyway, so now like I'm getting frustrated. I fall in the lake another couple of times, and then there's this like 5-year-old kid just crushing it, just crushing it in front of me. And he's like, do you need some help? And he's like, he showed me, and I'm just like in my head, I'm like, please don't curse at the kid. Please don't curse at the kid. And I'm like, no, it's okay, buddy, it's fine. But it took everything in my power to not like. I'm like, does it look? It's like, buddy, like, do you see how much I'm just big? It's like whatever you say is not going to help me. Like the board is just sinking. But anyway, that was my
Little meatball trying to get up
my
there.
substitute for because I didn't have a good enough poop story. I think Meg squats just won, and I don't think I could really top that. I mean, that was shit on the ceiling. I mean, like how do you top that? So
Next time you come back, you better have a poop story.
all right.
All right. Well, you guys have any other questions for these guys?
Let me see if there's anything else.
I know every question is going to be about like how jacked you are and how. But you've just like you've already mentioned a lot of this stuff. You've been eating and training since you were a kid, and it's just a byproduct of you training hard and genetics.
Right.
Right. I mean, there's nothing. You probably get asked that all the time. What do you do for your arms? What do you do? It's like I don't know. I've done some curls and some fucking pull-ups.
Yeah, I really don't think I train any harder than anyone else out there. I really contribute a lot of it to my mom and dad for producing, a strong kid.
Is your mom play any sports growing up or lift any weights?
No, and my dad's deadbeat. He's just like 5'7", 160. Doesn't really work or do much of anything. And yeah, that's my grandfather was 6'4", like 300 pounds, really hardworking man. Maybe he was usually got skipped.
Yeah.
They got turned on later on.
Yeah, I think we actually covered pretty much every question that anyone put up on Instagram that was worth anything. So,
all right, where can people find you?
Yeah, so you guys could check out GaglioneStrength.com, Gaglione. We do online coaching, distance coaching. Got a couple of products, 2 books on Amazon, Powerlifting for the People and the Powerlifting Handbook. If you're looking to learn more about what we do and our methods, we're going to actually do a seminar coming up.
Cool.
January 21st. It's going to be Wheels' I think first seminar where he's going to help me kind of take some people through some lifting and do some Q&A. You're going to learn how to lift like Larry. So mark your calendars, January 21st, and we got some local meets coming up as well, December 10th. You can check that out at GaglioneStrength.com. So yeah, we had a birthday meet for Smelly. So
there you go.
But yeah, and you can contact me Instagram. Gaglione Strength or GaglioneStrength@gmail.com is the email. So, and I really appreciate it. Thank you guys for having me on. I always joke that I kind of knew Smelly before he was famous. I was like one of the only people to sign up for his seminar at Zach Evanesh's gym, and it was
we had like 6 people there.
We wouldn't be sitting,
and my cousin was one of them.
We wouldn't be sitting here right now if I never went. And like I said, I always love learning from you guys, and it's just really a pleasure. And yeah, I love it. I can't wait to see what you guys do in the future.
December 10th, 1976 was the day I became famous, buddy. Just so you know. Larry, where can people find you, buddy?
You guys find me right now only active on IG at Larry Wheels. Actually, tomorrow I'm going to get my YouTube video started up and start doing some Q's and A's at Larry. A lot of Wheels, but we're going to change to Larry Wheels. And that's where you can find me. I look at all my DMs, you know.
Yeah, I bet you do.
Yeah.
A lot of dick pics.
Yeah.
Cool. You're going to start up a YouTube channel?
Actually, I already have one. It's ad for 3 years now, but I just haven't been active on it because I'm so active on IG.
Yeah.
Though, like I said, I've been doing some Q's and A's on that, and you can just Google Larry Wheels on YouTube, and you'll find it.
Cool.
Yeah, it's up there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just film the shit you eat, and people will watch that all day long. So they'll be like, I gotta find out what he eats. What does he eat? What does he eat? And there you are eating fucking pancakes and shit. People are gonna be like, I don't understand his diet. I don't get it. All right, well, that's all the time we got. I'm at Mark Smelly Bell on Instagram and Twitter. Multiply your hustle, multiply your muscle, and may all your shits be tapered. Later.
Big shout out to all our sponsors, 8Man Strong Apparel at 8Man Strong, bodybuilding.com for all your supplement needs, CompexUSA.com for the cutting edge muscle stim machines, increase your bench, how much you bench.net, Power, the only strength magazine available in digital and print, thepowermagazine.com. I'm Silent Mike, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, everywhere.
I'm Jim McD, STTV, everywhere that I want you to find me. Follow the show on Instagram. We are at Markville's PowerCast, and we are out. Mark Bell's PowerCast is a production of SuperTraining.tv.